Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are digging into one of the biggest challenges out there: how to build AI that you can actually rely on. We're going to tackle a core dilemma that is frankly keeping a lot of leaders up at night.
So when you think about putting AI into your business, it often feels like you're facing this impossible choice. Do you go all in on agentic AI, the systems that can act on their own to get things done for that incredible speed? Or do you play it safe and stick with the control and reliability of those traditional rule-based systems?
And it really does feel like you're caught between two extremes. On one side, you have this absolute rocket ship of agentic AI. It's powerful, it's fast, but it can also be pretty unpredictable, right? A little risky. Then on the other side, you've got the fortress of deterministic systems. Super safe, but also rigid. They can be kind of brittle when faced with the messiness of the real world. It seems like a fundamental trade-off, doesn't it? But what if this whole either-or debate is just the wrong way to look at it? What if it's a trap? Today, we're going to explore a much more powerful way to frame this entire conversation.
Okay, so let's introduce a new way to think about this. A new mental model for building AI you can trust. Let's talk about the spine and the muscles. This isn't about choosing sides. It's about combining their strengths into one really powerful system.
And this quote just nails it. The winning pattern is a deterministic spine with probabilistic muscles. The idea is you build the strong, reliable core, and then you wrap it with the flexibility of AI to handle all the messy parts of reality.
Think about it like this. The deterministic spine, that's your company's skeleton. It's the non-negotiable stuff, the structure that handles critical processes like payments or security checks. But the probabilistic muscles, that's your AI, like your LLMs. They can understand messy emails, summarize reports, and just navigate all the ambiguous parts of your business.
But here's the catch. This awesome hybrid system is only as good as its foundation. And that foundation, well, it's built on the raw material of all AI. Your data.
Just let that sink in for a second. A perfectly reliable, rules-based system that's fed messy, incomplete, or just scattered data, it's just going to give you reliably wrong answers. It becomes deterministic about being wrong. Ouch.
So this framework is basically a map that helps you match your AI strategy to your data reality. Up at the top, you've got your system of record. This is the good stuff. Your financial ledgers, your HR system. Here, deterministic rules should absolutely be in charge. But way down at the bottom, you're trying to make sense of all that messy data from emails and chats. A probabilistic approach is the only way. And that sweet spot in the middle, the operational truth, that's where the hybrid model of LLMs with safety gates really shines.
Okay, so we've got the framework. Now let's open up the architect's toolkit. What are the practical tools we can actually use to build these systems safely and get real work done?
All right, the first tool is really a change in mindset. Instead of thinking about AI autonomy as this big, scary on-off switch, we should think of it more like a dial that we can turn up gradually. And this is the whole idea behind what's called the autonomy ladder. It's a way to give your AI controlled empowerment.
This ladder gives you a really clear path. You start at the bottom with simple rules-based automation. Then you can move up a step, where the LLM just acts as an advisor, making suggestions that a human still has to approve. From there, maybe you move to guardrailed execution, where an automated check validates the AI's proposal before it acts.
And honestly, for most real business operations today, the sweet spot for getting value while keeping things reliable is right here, levels 2 and 3. You get all the intelligence of the LLM without taking on some crazy, unacceptable risk.
Now here's the crucial part. You cannot climb this ladder without a safety harness. It's just that simple. As you dial up the autonomy, you have to dial up your safety systems. So what do those systems actually look like?
First up, you need deterministic gates. These are your hard-coded checks. Think of them like a bouncer at the door of your most critical systems. They are the physical form of your spine, making sure that any output from the AI absolutely conforms to your non-negotiable rules, like data formats or spending limits, before it ever gets to touch a real system. Second, you have to put boundaries on the tools the AI can use. This is all about controlling the blast radius if something goes wrong. This isn't about trusting the AI. It's about engineering the system so that trust isn't your only line of defense. So you give the AI the minimum permissions it needs, you use allow lists for approved actions, you set clear budgets, and this one is huge, you always require a human to sign off on irreversible actions. And the third guardrail is all about designing a system that knows how to fail safely. You need to be able to trace every single decision the AI makes, an audit trail that shows you not just what it did, but why.
And you have to build in triggers so that when the AI's confidence drops, it doesn't just take a wild guess. It stops, and it asks a human for help. A truly smart system knows what it doesn't know.
When you put this all together, you realize that building reliable AI is less about having all the answers, and it's much more about starting with the right questions. This completely shifts your approach from being reactive to being proactive.
Start right here, before you even dream about the best-case scenarios. Imagine the worst plausible failure. This question forces you to think about containment and blast radius from day one, and that directly tells you how high up that autonomy ladder you're really willing to go.
Next, you gotta ask, which truth zone are we in? Are we working with that clean, structured data, or is this the messy, narrative stuff from emails and chats? Your answer is going to fundamentally shape your whole architecture. It tells you if the job needs the rigid strength of the spine or the flexible power of the muscles.
You also have to know where your red lines are. Any action that involves money, deleting data, or granting access, these are high stakes. This question makes you define where your deterministic spine has to take over and where a human-in-the-loop gate is absolutely 100% non-negotiable.
And finally, this is a huge policy decision. When your system is missing data, what does it do? Does it try to infer the answer? Does it just stop? Or does it ask for help? This behavior, this safe way of degrading, has to be a conscious design choice from the very beginning, not something you discover after a failure.
And this really brings us to the key takeaway. Building reliable AI means we have to move away from this impossible dream of perfect certainty. Instead, smart design is all about managing probability, intelligently choosing where you're going to allow for some flexibility while building really strong fences to contain the risk.
So, I'll just leave you with this question to guide your own work. Are you trying to build a system that is always correct, or are you building one that knows how to operate safely when it's uncertain? Because in the real world, a system that knows its own limits and knows how to fail gracefully is infinitely more valuable than one that's chasing an illusion of perfection. In this new world of AI, engineering for safe uncertainty, it isn't just more achievable, it's way more valuable.